Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, the place where we untangle the world of business filings. Today we're diving into Pure Storage's proxy statement, and let me tell you, there's a lot to unpack, enough to make you feel like you need extra storage space in your brain. This isn't just your run-of-the-mill report, it's a peek into how the company is performing, who's on the board, and how much the executives are getting paid. We'll break down the key points and translate them into plain English so you can understand what's really going on. Before we jump in, if you're interested in seeing Corporate Decoder tackle more tech companies, hit that subscribe button and join our Discord channel in the description below. We have all kinds of discussions there. First up, let's take a look at the letter from the chairman and CEO, Charles Giancarlo. He paints a pretty picture of fiscal year 2025, calling it a year of significant progress, citing industry-leading innovation and growth. He mentions the launch of Pure Fusion version 2.0, a transformative software enabling businesses to transition from siloed data stores to a unified enterprise data cloud on their Pure platform, which he claims simplifies data management and improves security. He also talks about a hyperscaler design win with Meta selected Pure's directly enabling businesses to transition from siloed data stores to a unified enterprise data cloud on their Pure platform, which he claims simplifies data management and improves security. He also talks about a hyperscaler design win with Meta selected Pure's direct flash technology because it can be easily integrated into their existing software environment while improving performance and reliability and reducing operating costs. Before we go deeper, let's get a summary of the key topics we are here to vote on. There's the election of directors, the ratification of the independent accounting firm, and an advisory vote on executive compensation. The board is recommending you vote all three, which is pretty standard. This proxy statement is a request for you to give them permission to do so. We can also see a highlight snapshot that says 11x leader in Gartner Magic Quadrant with 13,500 plus global customers. But we need to see the actual numbers for the money they are generating, which is what really matters. Next, we have the election of directors. Scott Dietzen, Charles Giancarlo, John Murphy, and Greg Tomb are nominated to serve until 2028. Let's take a look at each of these nominees so that you can assess if you should vote yes on all of them. These are their actual backgrounds and what they bring to the company and board. First, we have Scott Dietzen. He has deep technology background and leadership experience across a range of companies. Dietzen was previously CEO of Pure Storage. The document says this is what qualifies him for the board position. Next up is Charles Giancarlo, the current chairman and CEO. Qualifications for board service includes his extensive executive leadership and operational experience at major technology companies. He also sits on the boards of Arista Networks and Zexada. Then we have John Murphy, the former chief financial officer of Adobe, so he's an expert in the world of finance. His qualifications include his extensive management and financial experience at major technology companies. Finally, Greg Tomb, the president of Senja, a talent intelligence platform. He brings leadership and sales expertise at enterprise technology companies to the table. Okay, so what does the board actually do? Well, they handle risk oversight, which is basically making sure the company isn't taking crazy chances. They also oversee compliance and ethics, trying to ensure the company is playing by the rules. There is also the audit committee, compensation committee, risk committee, and governance committee. Moving on to the independent registered public accountant firm, the board recommends that you ratify the selection of Deloitte & Touche as their pick. Here's the amount Pure Storage paid for their services, which will tell us what to expect for 2026. In fiscal 2026, in fiscal 2026, in fiscal 2026, in fiscal 2025, the audit fees were about $2. These fees can give you insight into the workload they put on the accounting firm for any problems that might occur. Now let's talk about executive compensation. The board wants you to give an advisory vote to approve how they're paying their top executives. This isn't binding, but it's a way for you to voice your opinion on whether you think they're being paid fairly. This is also a good way to see if the company is properly aligned for performance-based. Here is the summary compensation table for fiscal 2025. It's a detailed look at how much the top executives were paid, broken down by salary, bonus, stock awards, and other compensation. Let's dive into these numbers. Kevin Chrysler, the CFO, had a total compensation of $14 million. Kevin Chrysler, the total compensation of $4.7 million. Kevin Chrysler, the dollar compensation of $5.5 million. Attica von Chrysler, the CFO, had a total compensation of $5.7 million. John Cogrove had a total compensation of $14 million. Kevin Chrysler, the CFO. Had a total compensation of $4.9 million, Akava Stanfit Simons. Had a total compensation of $4.7 million. Looking at what the compensation plans are, cash bonuses are based on revenue, profit, and customer satisfaction, and equity is based on performance. And now the moment you've all been waiting for, how much does the CEO make compared to the average worker? The pay ratio is 84-1. The median employee made $167,057, often targets of critics. Here is an overview of the stock ownership information. Axting Charles Giancarlo owns 2,759,827 shares. Axting John Colgrove owns 13,923 shares. Ethiomesh 8. Yon Tinti 9 shares. Ived Yon John Conjure 9 shares. Finally, there are a lot of questions regarding if you are able to attend, how to get proxy materials, or other technicalities. Most are typical and do not bring about any new or meaningful information for us, so we will end our discussion here. Okay, so let's step back and look at the bigger picture. Pure Storage is highlighting its hyperscaler win with Meta and innovation around AI and sustainability. But there are some areas for concern. They missed the target for their subscription services sales, and the executive compensation is heavily weighted towards equity, which might not be ideal if the stock price doesn't perform. Overall, Pure Storage seems to be navigating a tricky market, but their focus on AI and sustainability could be a good long-term strategy. However, it's important to keep an eye on their subscription sales and make sure their executive compensation is aligned with actual business performance. Alright, that's our breakdown of Pure Storage's proxy stake. What do you think? Are they heading in the right direction? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If this analysis was valuable, hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the world of business filings. And as always, join our Discord community linked in the description. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.